Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. Today we are here to talk about something very interesting. As we've already begun our countdown for the Asia Cup, it was about time we speak about the dark horses, or one might call them the underdogs of this Asia Cup, because it is the much anticipated teams, right? Someone would believe that these teams may not make it to the final, but we certainly believe that they can. That's why we are here to talk about them, and they all look very good. This Asia Cup could be an open one, and we've always seen that in the Asia Cups. You always see an upset here or there. You always see the dark horses making it to the final. Compared to a World Cup, Asia Cup is that tournament where you have seen teams like Sri Lanka do off very. I'm not saying Sri Lanka were underdogs before. Sri Lanka were the strong favorites in the. If you look in previous years, you have seen Bangladesh last season make it to the final. You've also seen Afghanistan give some teams run for their money in the previous editions of Asia Cup. Now you have a Hong Kong teams who have qualified into the Asia Cup as well. Unfortunately, UAE will be missing out from the Asia Cup, the host nation. So we'll be talking about all of these things in our coverage of this Asia Cup preview and the countdown for Asia Cup. Today's episode is primarily on the underdogs. Welcome, Sandibani, and how excited are you to talk about the underdogs? Because underdogs are a very fascinating story, right? Especially in any sport.
I mean, to call Sri Lanka an underdog is quite a statement. I mean, their current form and the team that they have, they are definitely not on par on papers, especially with teams like India and Pakistan. But you never know, because recently they created that world record, 59 runs of the last 3 overs, and you have to remember that Sri Lanka have won 5 Asia Cup titles. I mean, they are the
Yes.
team
I
with
mean,
the second most
the
number of
reason
titles.
why I term them underdogs is just looking at their previous performance.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
for me, this episode, it just feels very bad to call any team underdog.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just don't like the term underdog, especially in cricket. We can say that because they might not be the
Yeah, they are the
favorites and one.
underdogs. Frankly, they are the underdogs when you compare them with the current squad that India and Pakistan have.
Yeah,
But yeah, they can definitely cause an upset or a surprise, bring a good pleasant surprise for their team on any given day. And we must not forget that the last two Asia Cup finals have been played by Bangladesh. So it was not Pakistan, it was not Sri Lanka, it was India versus Bangladesh on 2016 Asia Cup final and 2018 Asia Cup final. So Bangladesh are two-time runners-up, and they will definitely be motivated. I think they have a very experienced squad. We'll get to that. And
Bangladesh, if you have to talk about, they came close to winning Asia Cup twice. If you talk about that
yeah,
final in 2012, it was a very close game. I remember
yeah,
Aziz Chima bowling in to Bangladesh, and they lost the wickets towards the latter part.
yeah.
Even the game against India, it was Kedar Jadhav who came out of injury and took them home.
So
Or
if
else,
we if
even that
we talk
game, it was
about
a
it,
deadlock.
Bangladesh have reached three of the last four Asia Cup finals. They
Yes.
are yet to win one, but they are one of the more formidable sides based on current form. Uh, and
Definitely.
then another team that I think we'll be discussing is Afghanistan. So
Yep.
Afghanistan again, on paper they look really strong, especially with the bowling attack that they have. Uh, and I think the conditions will be a bit favorable for the spinners. I had maintained it, even though the pitches are going to be fresh. But I think the strategy for most of the teams, because Sri Lanka are very heavily reliant on their spinners. Thikshana and Hasaranga will do the major damage to the opposition. And also there is for Bangladesh they have Mosaddeq Hussain, there is Shakib Al Hassan definitely, and then Mehdi Hassan, and definitely for Afghanistan there is Rashid Khan, along with
Yeah.
Mujibur Rahman. So I think all these teams are very spin heavy. So
I
I
mean,
definitely feel.
it's not a
Yeah,
bad thing to be spin heavy in conditions like UAE, isn't it? Because we often talk about
yeah, yeah,
how conditions in UAE can be so conducive to spin and how it can be conducive to slower pace bowling, isn't it? And we've seen that with some of the bowlers like Harshal Patel, who have been very good in UAE conditions. We've seen that with bowlers who are very good at variations and spinners who have done well. Like someone like Varun Chakravarti, especially in IPL and UAE, has been very, very successful because of the very reason that the pitch conditions in UAE is so much different when you compare it with any other country in the world. And initial part of the season, I expect the ball to come onto the bat pretty well, and fast ballers to be in the play compared to spinners. But still, I still believe spinners are going to play a major part, especially in grounds
and
like
I will not
Sharjah,
be
because
surprised if India goes ahead with Jadeja, Ashwin, and Yuzvendra Chahal in their playing 11 for the first game. I mean, especially
Interesting.
because Bumrah and Harshal Patel are injured.
Interesting call by you because
Yeah.
I mean I don't see three spinners playing either ways because if you talk about three spinners playing in a playing level, it doesn't happen often, right? Because it's very
No,
rare
but
you
India
see a
will have the like option of going to Hardik Pandya as the third seamer. So it is quite a possibility because Jadeja and Hardik Pandya are going to be the fifth and sixth bowling option throughout the tournament. I don't see them getting dropped in any of the games unless there is some fitness issue or one of them is rested. Otherwise, I think India have and they are also whenever Deepak Huda is in the playing 11, I think he's also like they heavily rely on Deepak Huda to sort of do the job with the ball as well, because we saw in the last game as well he got 1 or 2 overs
yeah.
against the Zimbabweans. So
I really
yeah,
don't think
I
Deepak
think
Huda will be a starter in the playing eleven because it's
no,
such
no,
a
no.
such a
Definitely, he'll not be
congested.
a starter. But if one of Hardik Pandya or Ravindra Jadeja misses, I think Deepak Huda will find a place in the team, especially because
I mean,
Akshar
yeah.
Patel is in the backup and he's not in the main playing
I mean, I think
15,
we
I
should
guess.
get back to talking about the underdogs because we often tend to get carried away with talking about India. But let's talk about
Yeah.
the underdogs. And we have people joining in to know about underdogs, of course. Let's start out with the five-time champions. Of course, it's very tough to call them the underdogs because of the reason that they are a very good squad. And if you look at them right now on the paper in itself, they are a formidable squad. They have players like Kusal Mendes who have been in good form. Banuka Rajapaksa, you saw him let up the IPL. They have a Jeffrey Vandersay in spin bowling department. They're spin bowling heavy. I mean, like look at their spin bowling attack. Tikshana, Hasaranga, Jay Vikrama, and Vandersay. And they have an all-rounder in Karuna Ratne. Patirana has been in excellent form.
And
Done,
Dhananjay De
the
Silva is no joke with the ball as well. I think
yeah,
Dhananjay
Dhananjay
De
De
Silva
Silva,
on
Dinesh
his day
Chandimal
will
makes a
be, yeah.
Dinesh Chandimal makes a comeback. There are doubts on Dushman the Chamira's place. He's still recovering from an injury, so not quite sure whether he's going to make it, or is he ruled out? I'm not quite sure of Dushman the
I
Chamira's
think Sri
place in the.
Lanka have not yet given their like top 15. They have named the 18 players. I think they'll take a couple of calls in the coming days regarding the fitness, like seeing the fitness of the players. But so
Absolutely.
far, with what we can see, I think it is a spin heavy team. Like I said, I think they are going to go in with at least three spinners. Like I mean, including a bowling all rounder. That is, I think Hasaranga and Thikshana are no doubt they are going to start in the playing 11, and also Dhananjay De Silva. So you have your three spinners. According to the pitch and the availability of the bowlers, I think Vandersay and Jaya Vikrama can also be taken into contention for one more slot. For another spin bowling option slot. So yeah, it's a very interesting squad. And when you talk about the batting, I'm more interested in seeing that some of the more experienced players in the Sri Lankan lineup have made a comeback. Dinesh Chandimal is one of them. Then I like how Kushal Mendes, Dhananjay De Silva, and Dinesh Chandimal, these three players, how they have played in the last 1.5 years. I think, especially Kushal Mendes, he was completely out of form for quite some time since the 2017 Champions Trophy. He had hardly scored some big runs, but come 2021 and basically come 2022, we have seen a different Kusal Mendes. He has shown the intent. He is going after the bowlers and he's getting the results. I think Kushal Mendes, Dhananjay De Silva, and Dinesh Chandimal in that middle order is going to play a very important role. And also you have the youngsters like Pathum Nishanka had a fabulous tour of Australia. And
Yeah.
there is Charit Asalanka, Bhanuka Rajapaksha. Rajapaksha became a household name after the IPL. And Asalanka was has given consistent performances for Sri Lanka, uh, like since the 2021 T20 World Cup. I think he came into the foray in the 2021 World Cup with his innings against Bangladesh, and since then I think he has not looked down. He has just looked above, and I think
Yeah.
it's a very interesting
I
mix.
think it's a very interesting
I'm a
squad
bit
for a lot of
concerned about
reasons.
their bowling.
I mean,
Yeah.
if I have to take you back to that Australian series, right? I mean, everybody wrote them off, but they kept coming back into the game. Let it be one days. One days they were pretty much dominated, but in the T20 series especially, they just kept coming back. They just show that they have the metal in the shortest format. They have someone like a Hasaranga. Hasaranga is a linchpin in this side. Hasaranga, it's also good to see him contribute a lot more with the bat as well. It adds a lot of balance to the squad. And with Karunaratne, Dasun Chanak, and Hasaranga being their three main all rounders, it looks like a squad which is well balanced with Patiran and Kushal Mendes up top. Then you have someone like a you could say that someone like Charit Asalanka is a player who people have relied heavily upon. And Danush Gunathilaka, it's about time for him to come good in T20 cricket. I don't know if he's going to start for the Asia Cup, because he's been a player who's been a hit and miss for this Asia, for the Sri Lankan side, isn't it? Because
Yeah, I
often we
think
have
we are the
rated him
only
very highly.
ones who have been very critical about Gunatilaka's batting performance. I think the Sri Lankan board and management, they have not been critical enough on his performance. I mean, after 35, 40 games, if your opener batter in T20 internationals is averaging only 17 or 18, I mean, it's a huge cause of concern, because you in T20 internationals, you expect your best batters to play most number of deliveries. You expect your best batters to open the innings, and I totally feel that Gunatilaka hasn't done justice to his position yet. But there is still some time. I think Gunatilaka. I mean, he with the lineup that they have, I don't think he's going to start in the playing 11. But given an opportunity, I think this is going to be one of the last opportunities for Gunatilaka, because we all know he's an X Factor player. He's in the team because he's an X Factor player, but he has not been performing to his abilities and potential in the T20I format. He has been doing a decent job in the ODI format. He has been giving uh, starting Sri Lanka off with great starts. But in the T20I format, he has just not clicked. And I think this is going to be the make or break series for him. Given that he gets to play in the gets to start in the playing 11. So yeah, that's about it when you talk about Gunatilaka.
I mean, you have to talk about Gunatilaka because of the fact that he's got the talent. You've seen that from him. He's played a couple of really good innings, especially against India. If I remember, a couple of knocks in the Champions Trophy as well. Kusal Mendes has been one of those players as well. He's always he's failed to deceive people because he's got so much of talent. He's always kept there. He's been there with Sri Lankan team for the longest period of time. He's played some of the most spectacular innings if you look back, but he's not quite delivered in the big stage. And this is the opportunity for something like Kusal Mendes to actually step up. And the big call is that they've got Dinesh Chandimal back. He's been terrific in the test format in the recent past. But is it time for him actually to deliver even in T20 format? Because his role is going to be so crucial for this Asia Cup, right? Because someone of
Yeah.
his talent, how how is he going to really convert it? So that's going to be a major factor as well. Now, if I have to talk about someone like Charit Asalanka, as I already mentioned, Charit Asalanka, Rajapaksha, Kusal Mendes, these three will hold the key for Sri Lanka. And I totally rate Sri Lankan team to be on par with India, Pakistan as well, because I don't really want to call them an underdog, because they've got the potential, they've got the skill in them. But my only thing is, can they really tie up teams with the spin trio they've got? Jay Vikrama, Jeffrey Van Der Sey, not spin trio, it's a spin quartet rather. They've
Yeah.
got Jay Vikrama, Van Der Sey, Hasaranga, and Tikshana. Because any team would dread to face them on a track which turns, because they can absolutely lock 16 overs with the spin they've got. And all what they've do is 4 overs of pace bowling, which Karuna Ratna has been doing pretty well. Dushman
And
Chamila is
you
also
don't
fit
even
just
need
to be.
that. You can just bowl all five spinners. You also have Dhananjay Silva in the team, and I think it is going to be very interesting to see the playing 11 that they opt for in the first game, because with Pathum Nisanka, you definitely have a opener, because with the performances that he has shown in Australia. He's not your player that who will come and give you those 30, 40 runs of 12, 13 balls knock, but he's a player who will sort of hold one end, and sort of prevent a complete collapse. He'll sort of not get dismissed from his end. And I think that is a quality that you at least need one player from your team to have that quality. I mean, a lot of people will be critical about his strike rate, but you have to consider that you have to take into account that he's the I think the most prominent or leading run scorer since the start of 2022, because if I remember correctly, he had a fabulous series. He was the leading run scorer in the series against Australia, in the two to Australia, not when Australia came to Sri Lanka. And then
Yeah.
he has provided Sri Lanka with pretty decent starts since then. So that's about Nisanka, and but the other players, I think it's going to be a very interesting mix in the middle orders, because you
Yeah.
have Dhananjay De Silva, you have Kushal Mendis, you have Dinesh Chandimal, who are the experienced players, and also you have the likes of Rajapaksha, Asalanka, and
Yeah.
Gunatilaka, who are sort of the younger ones. I won't call Gunatilaka very inexperienced, because he has been in the
He's
circuit
32
for
years
quite
of
some time now.
age. He's close to
Yeah.
32 years of age, and I think it's about time we call him an experienced pro.
Yeah, but he has not been stepping up for the team. But we can't say that for Asalanka and Rajapaksha, who have been outstanding for the team. So Sri Lanka will have a choice of plenty when it comes to their middle order batting. It is going to be very interesting to see their approach and how they go about it.
I mean, yeah, of course, you have to say that their approach is going to be a huge, huge factor, because the fact that if they play fearless brand of cricket and if they can make it to the final or the super fours, then you never know. It's on that day what really happens, because you have got so much of talent in that team. If, for example, Dhananjay De Silva is going to be another all-round cricketer, which they have got. So Dashun Shanaka is going to be an important factor as well, because he's got the knack of picking up wickets here and there. He's got the knack of he's really come of age as a finisher as well. Now it's all up to the team how they actually come in the Asia Cup, how they really deliver in the big stage. Because you saw the potential from them even in the T20 World Cup, which I thought they really did not step up. Now with a lot of experience of IPL in that team, someone like a Chamira has played IPL, someone like a Tikshana has played IPL, someone like Hasaranga has played IPL. And also these lads have played up against teams like Australia. They've played. They've had slightly lack of cricket in the leading into this Asia Cup, but still, I believe they've got everything covered to go into that Asia Cup as one of the strong favorites rather than underdogs, I feel. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see how they carry on from here on. And if they really step up to their potential, they are a team to really beat on the given day. And that's why I feel Sri Lanka shouldn't be really regarded as an underdog, and that's one thing which I don't like. I'm a kissy from UAE, watching you folks since a month. I don't know what's a kissy from UAE, but good to know you're from UAE as well. Because our app is all about UAE, and we really love the fans what we get from UAE. So thank you for that, Mr. Sean. And you have mentioned about Afghans as well being the real dark horses. Of course, there's no doubt why Afghanistan are the real dark horse. We'll be talking about them. Oh, that's great. I mean, you're going to be watching the Asia Cup from the ground. There's no better opportunity for you to go out there and cheer your team. I know from which country you're supporting or which team you're supporting, but then definitely if you're from UAE itself, it's a slight disappointment for you, because UAE are missing out on the Asia Cup at home. They could have really made it being the host nation, but nonetheless, it's another opportunity for them. What is Sri Lankan bowling lineup going to be? This is an interesting one, where we already did discuss about this in brief as to what their bowling attack could potentially look like on the paper, because with four spinners, four proper spinners who can tie the ropes around any team, tie a web rather, tie a spin web. Should they be going in with two pieces, which is Karuna Ratne and Chamika, actually, and Dusman Chamira if he's fit, or else they can actually go in with five spinners and give Dusman Chamira could be the only pacer. You saw that in that ODI against Australia, where they balled 45 overs of spin as well. So they've got a complete package of spin. They can actually ball 20 overs of proper spin, where Mahesh Dixon opens your bowling. Actually, Jay Vikrama can also open the bowling. Then you have Tikshana and also Vandersay coming in the middle overs. So it's a tough team, because then you have Dhananjay De Silva as well, who will chip in with the ball. So as a selector or as a team captain, it's a tough choice for you as to what the bowling attack is going to be looking like, because now you have, if Chamira is totally fit, he should be a sure starter in the lineup, because you need a pacer at the end of the day. And and also Karuna Ratna is a decent pacer with the ball. But my favorite has to be Tikshan and Hasaranga. This duo, they both play for Bangalore and Chennai, but this duo is a scary duo to face against any batter in the world. Let it be the best of batters in the world. They're going to give those batters a run for the money, because they've got the ability to chip in with the ball and also pick up wickets every now and then, isn't it? So, as somebody joins back, we will be talking about what this spin bowling five is all going to be, or spin bowling quartet rather. And don't be surprised on days they're going to go in with 18 or 17 overs of spin, and especially in conditions like Sharjah, if the pitch is going to wear out slightly, this team is going to be this team is certainly going to create havoc on many oppositions, and you've seen that in the past with this team as well, how they can actually create havoc on condition with stones. But in Dubai, I don't really expect their bowling attack to be stepping up that much, because in Dubai, Dubai often tends to produce fresh wickets. I've never seen Dubai wicket turn square. There are times when Dubai wickets tend to play slightly slow, and also this being the start of the season in UAE, I expect the pitches to be fresh. The fast ballers will be in the play in the initial bed, in the power play, especially fast ballers will be picking up wickets. You saw it in the IPL in 2020 as well. Many were saying, UAE is a slow wicket, but no, in Dubai and in Abu Dhabi, I always expect the Pacers to be in the game in the first 6 overs. That's why UAE conditions are certainly helping the Pacers. The humid conditions in the overhead as well. I think Pacers are going to be in the game in the first 6 overs in the starting of the Asia Cup, and then maybe in the latter half in the Super Fours, maybe you might see slight bit of spin coming in. But for me, Sharjah is going to be the wicket, and Sri Lanka will be a certain threat in Sharjah, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I agree with you mostly, but I feel that Sri Lanka are definitely going to go with two pacers, and yeah, you have 8 overs of Vanindu Hasaranga and definitely Mahesh Thikshana. I think they are given, like they are going to start. I definitely feel that if Chamira is fit, they are going to go with Chamira and Karunaratne as their two pacers, along with Dasun Shanaka as their third seam option. But if in case, I think if Chamira is not fit, I think they are going to go with Pathirana. So I think they are going to go with two pacers and two spinners, and they can obviously have Dasun Shanaka and Dhananjay De Silva acting as the fifth and sixth bowling option. But
Yeah,
you can also see at most I think they are going to go with three proper spinners. That is uh, Hasaranga, Thikshana, and either one of Vandersay or Jaya Vikrama. I don't think they're going to go with four spinners. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they go about it, because I won't be surprised if, like you mentioned, that Sri Lanka comes out with 18 overs of spin, because
yeah.
they have done it in the past. So
Yeah.
it's not beyond them, but I definitely feel the smarter thing would be to go with Karunaratne, because he will give you that extra ammunition with the bat as well.
Yeah.
You often like sort
I mean,
of very
Karunaratne is a definite starter in this squad, and in the last 1 year, the progress which
yeah,
he has
yeah,
made is he's also got a IPL contract, right? And since his return from the IPL, they did not play a game for Kolkata Knight Riders, and I was pretty surprised why they did not use Chamika Karunaratne. You can say definitely,
because they
like
had Andrew Russell, so he
Andre
was
Russell is there.
sort
It's
of a like to like replacement. Yeah,
tough to make a claim for yourself in a squad like that with Andre Russell being, and you were a backup for Andre Russell from the get go. But still, he has definitely got a lot of learning from the IPL, and you could see that in the confidence which he was carrying into that one-day series against Australia as well. He was a super confident player since this return from the IPL. You saw it with Hasranga and also with Tikshana as well. These lads are coming off IPL stints after a very long time. You are seeing Sri Lankan cricket being on the radar of the world stage, and no doubt why. There's no reason why that one shouldn't believe that they are one of the strong favorites for this Asia Cup, because always felt Sri Lanka in big tournaments are underplayed. You don't expect them to make it to the finals, but they often find a way to make it to the finals. We have seen that they made it to the most number of ICC finals, and they've lost from 2000 to 2014 phase. Finally they won an ICC tournament in 2014 when they actually lifted that 2014 T20 World Cup. But
20 World Cup.
it was long time coming, right? From 2000 in 2007 they played that final of the World Cup. In
Final after
2000,
final, and they were getting defeated. Yeah,
2009 they played the final of T20 World Cup. 2011 they played a final of the Cricket World Cup. 2012 they played a final, and finally in
14
2014
they
they
got it. Yeah.
won the ICC trophy, which was beckoning them for the longest period of time as
It
well.
was a
So
good way to see off players like Mahila Jayawardene and Kumar Sangakkara, who have given a lot to the Sri Lankan batting unit. I mean, we often talk about Jay Surya, we often talk about Arvinda De Silva, and definitely Arjuna Ranatunga. But it's Kumar Sangakkara has been a legend, no doubt about it. But we rarely talk about players like Mahila Jayawardene. He has taken up the role of mentorship really well. And I think he was a fabulous player. He did not have the like the best of records to show for
yeah,
it. He averaged only some midway 30s
yeah.
during the time he played. But I think whatever he did, he did a fabulous job.
Yeah, Natasha, absolutely. Sri Lanka is a very beautiful country, and it's such a coastal country where you got all nature
And
all
I would
across.
definitely think I would definitely pit them as the third favorite after India and Pakistan. I think they have the third most balanced sort of a side. I am
I mean,
still
yeah.
a bit concerned about their bowling lineup because yeah, you have Hasaranga, you have Thikshana, but other than that, the other 12 overs can often go for 120, 130 runs on a bad
I mean,
day.
I don't really think they should be really worried about their bowling lineup. It's often their batting which lets them down. And I'll take Devon's question over here. And before that, Nadesh also makes a point with what's going on on their fans. They deserve what's going on. Their fans deserve something from their team.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I know their country has been going under turmoil for the last few months, and they totally deserve something to cheer about. Their country has been really good. Even amidst of all this turmoil, what was happening in their country, you saw fans turn up in huge numbers, support Australia. Their fans turned up in huge numbers, though there were protests happening during the test matches, etc. But still they're a very passionate country about cricket, and they deserve something to cheer about, isn't it? So I think this is the moment for Sri Lankan cricket to actually come out pretty strong. And let's talk about the trump card, right? It's an interesting squad. Who do you really can be that? Who really can be the trump card in that squad?
I think it's a no-brainer. I think Vanindu Hasaranga is their trump card, uh, because on a given day he can even demolish a bowling lineup as well. I definitely feel that he's a sort of a player like Rashid Khan. If you give him enough opportunities with the bat as well, he'll come good. He has a good technique. It's just that he comes in that phase of the game where he just has to go after the bowling, and that is why I think he does not have too much to show with the bat. But he's not any sort of a joke with the bat as well. He's a very potent. He has a very good sort of technically he's very sound. So I think he's definitely the trump card, definitely a trump card with the ball. We all know what he can do with the 4 overs that he'll get. The leading wicket taker in the 2021 calendar year for T20 internationals. I think he has been a household name even before the IPL, and then he had a fabulous IPL this time around. So yeah, there was a lot of pressure on him heading into this IPL because we were talking about one in the Hasaranga sort of performing all across the world, but when it came to IPL, he was not being able to deliver for the teams. But definitely this time around, he got more opportunities with the absence of Yuzvendra Chahal from RCB, and he capitalized on it. Uh,
Absolutely. And being an RCB
yeah.
fan, I've got some soft corner for this lad. He's one of our own, as I would like to call it. He's got a swagger about.
Another trump card. I think we can also call Dashun Sanaka a trump card
Yeah,
because
I also totally think let's talk about. I think that trump card is not going to be a baller; it's going to be a batter, and I'd like to place my bet on Asalanka being the trump card because he's such a wonderful batter to watch. Either Asalanka or Patirana, but I would like to place my bet on Asalanka because if Asalanka can have a very good Asia Cup where he scores at an average of 45 to 50 at a strike rate of close to 140 with other players tipping in with an average of close to 30 to 30 and a strike rate of close to 140. Then Sri Lanka becomes a serious contender. Definitely, they're making it the super force. But then the only question is, can they actually clinch that title? Isn't it? We are here to talk about underdogs, but I'm again going to repeat this. It's an unfortunate thing that I'm placing them as an underdog. But for me, they're as strong a favorite as India and Pakistan because they've got
but
such a wonderful
I
squad.
think that
The
is where their
turnaround
true
actually
test
started
lies.
the
Yeah,
turnaround actually started for the squad against India last year when India played against them. It was a COVID hit Indian
yeah, yeah.
squad,
It was
but
a
then
COVID
still,
affected,
but
yeah,
the
series.
belief, the squad, the kind of self belief which every player had, the limelight which every player got after that series was immense because they went on to win the T20I series against India. And all of a sudden, there were a lot of players who were in the limelight. Hasaranga came into the limelight. Dushman the Chamira came into the limelight. All of a sudden, they started getting exposures in tournaments like IPL. Karno Ratne came into the limelight. So I
And
think
I think all the Sri
that
Lankan
season has
players,
turned around.
Chamira, Hasaranga, Thikshana, did a fabulous job in the IPL. Rajapaksha. I mean, they sort of got their like. I think this was the first time that so many players from Sri Lanka, the youngsters from Sri Lanka, got an opportunity to play in the IPL. There have been Sri Lankan players in the squad, in the last couple of years as well. But I don't think like this sort of participation was seen in the IPL, and all of them performed really well.
Yeah,
I can't remember a player from Sri Lanka who hasn't done well in this season of the IPL, and I think there was no looking back since. and you
Yeah.
have to, on their given day they can beat any team, but their true test will lie on how they perform in the games against Pakistan and India, when there will be pressure, when they will not be considered the favorites heading into the game. When they are going to play Bangladesh, Afghanistan, I think they will be high on confidence. They will definitely be the favorites heading into that game. But when it comes to Pakistan and India, I think that is where their true test will lie. I mean, we all saw that they gave a very tough competition to Australia in their backyard, in the quite recently concluded series. Not quite recently, but yeah, 3 4 months back. But I think they did a phenomenal job over there, and I think they are going to be a team to reckon with, not just for the Asia Cup but also for the ICC T20 World Cup. But they have to show a bit of consistency. I think one thing that they have been lacking is consistency. Their batting order has lacked consistency, especially. I mean, one game you will see players like Rajapaksha, Asalanka coming in performing really well, and the second day you will see that they are not doing well. So I mean, consistency is an issue. But other than that, I don't see any reason why Sri Lanka can't beat the best and can't clinch the Asia Cup.
I mean, yeah, of course, because they are a team who have clinched already 5 Asia Cups, and they're on par with maybe any of those teams. What is it written? Do you understand Bengali, Sandipani? So you can
Yeah, I can
possibly.
read Bengali, but I am not sure what it is written. একশো বলের রিপোর্ট নিতে যোগাযোগ করুন. It's some sort of advertisement that went beyond me.
Okay,
And
I
yeah,
thought it's a question for you coming in.
no, no,
But
no.
yeah, nonetheless, it's always nice to take up different languages, and we totally enjoy that. But yeah, let's talk about the next team which we have on cards, because Sri Lanka, we have analyzed 30 minutes on Sri Lanka now. Let's talk about a team which are maybe as strong as Sri Lanka, a team which is maybe most of the people's favorites. They're one of the favorite team. They're a team which has not a lot of they've got a lot of fans rather than haters, I would say. Everybody wants this team to do well because they've also got so many IPL superstars, as they call the biggest superstar in
Yeah.
T20 cricket among all. I think it's a global superstar in Rashid Khan. He is their face of this cricket team. Mohammad Nabi is leading the team. They've got Zazai, they've got Zadran, they've got Mujib. The Shinwari is part of the squad. Najibullah is another exciting talent, because Najibullah Zadran is a kind of player, who's always been there, who's always tend to show really well. Naveen Ulaq is another player. Noor Ahmed. Noor Ahmed is a terrific star as well. Rahmanullah Gurbaz. He was also part of the Gujarat Titans winning squad, who won the
I
IPL.
think
So
I am very excited to see how Rahmanullah Gurbaz will go, especially because I think I'll see him in action after a long time. Because he was a part of the T10 squad in the UAE, and then
yes,
he played in the
they were part of the
T20s.
Delhi Bull squad. If I'm
Yeah,
not
he
wrong, he
was
was
a
part
part
of
of
the
the
Delhi
Delhi
Bull.
Bull squad. He had a phenomenal season over there. But other than that, he was given a like stint in the IPL with Gujarat Titans. Even though he did not play too many games, I think he did not play any of the games, especially because there was Matthew Wade and then there was Riddhiman Shah. So you definitely can't like, he was their backup keeper and batsman. But he's a phenomenal player, and he's a very exciting player to look out for, because uh, he's that X factor player who can change the course of the game in 10 15 balls. And he's a sort of a wicketkeeper batsman that Afghanistan needed to succeed somebody like a Mohammad Shahzad. I think they definitely needed somebody of Rahmanullah Gurbaz's potential. And also, I totally agree with you with Nazibullah Zadran. I think he's a very impressionable batsman. He's a very good batsman. He was very consistent for Afghanistan in the 2019 World Cup, where Afghanistan had a horrific run. They lost all their games, but Zadran coming in at number 5, number 6 was very consistent for them throughout the tournament. And since then, I have been following Zadran in wherever he plays, and I have seen that consistency is one thing that you can expect from Zadran. I think
Yeah,
he is their most consistent batsman. There is big names like Hazratullah Zazai, there is Muhammad Nabi, but I think Najibullah Zadran is their most consistent batsman. And he has been having results as well.
mm,
He has results to show for it. He has been playing leagues all over the world, and I'm really excited to see this Afghanistan batting team. We all know about
yeah,
Afghanistan's bowling team. There is Mujibur Rahman, there is Rashid Khan, and there is the young talent of Noor Ahmed. And
yeah.
there are some like experienced players as well. I think I saw Navinul Haq in the mix. There is
Yeah.
Navinul Haq. There was
I think for me one of the most exciting player has to be Noor Ahmed because he was very impressive in the under 19 World Cup. He's part of the BBL squad. If I'm not wrong, he was also part of the Gujarat Titans winning squad as well. Noor Ahmed, he's also another player
But
who
I don't
was
think,
very
yeah.
impressive.
But yeah, with Noor Ahmed, I don't think that he'll get a game. Again, if Afghanistan somehow decides to go with four spinners because they already have Rashid Khan, Mujibur Rahman, they'll be the likely starters as their main spinners, and they also have the all rounder in the form of the captain Nabi. So
Yeah.
I don't really see Noor Ahmed getting a game unless one of them is unfit or they are rested. So yeah.
या हिंदी में बात करो आप क्या क्या अफ़गानिस्तान जीत पाएगा? जी बिल्कुल, अफ़गानिस्तान के बारे में ही हम बात करें। पहले हम उन लोगों के स्क्वाड को देखते हैं क्योंकि अफ़गानिस्तान के स्क्वाड में काफ़ी अच्छे प्लेयर्स हैं इस बार आप देखिए तो जैसे कि राशिद खान तो है ही, मतलब उसके साथ मुजीबुर रहमान का फ़ॉर्म भी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण रहेगा इस टीम के लिए और फ़ज़ल हक फ़ारूकी आप लोग ने देखा होगा इसको आईपीएल में काफ़ी अच्छे किए थे। आईपीएल का एक्सपोज़र भी है अभी फ़ज़ल हक फ़ारूकी को और नवीन हुलाक भी ऐसा एक प्लेयर है कि जिसके पास काफ़ी ज़्यादा वेरिएशंस है और यूएई के कंडीशंस में ऐसा काफ़ी सारा वेरिएशंस काफ़ी मदद मिलेगा अब नवीन हुलाक को और मेरा फ़ेवरेट और सबका फ़ेवरेट तो मेरा मेरा फ़ेवरेट तो रहमानुल्लाह गुरबाज़ी है। जिस तरीके से वो खेलता है और जिस तरीके से वो मैच को बदल सकता है, रहमानुल्लाह गुरबाज़ एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण प्लेयर रहेगा अफ़गानिस्तान का टीम के लिए और जैसे कि अफ़गानिस्तान का बैटिंग के ऊपर रहेगा क्योंकि मोहम्मद मोहम्मद नबी का रोल भी काफ़ी महत्वपूर्ण रहेगा इस टीम के लिए क्योंकि जिस तरीके से मोहम्मद नबी का रोल रहा है इस टीम के ऊपर नंबर 5 नंबर 6 में वो आता है और मैचेस को भी बदल सकता है। फिनिशर का रोल भी खेलता है वो मोहम्मद नबी। मोहम्मद नबी का कैप्टेंसी और उसका बैटिंग काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट रहेगा इस टीम के लिए क्योंकि अफ़गानिस्तान का बॉलिंग तो काफ़ी अच्छा है ही, पर बैटिंग के ऊपर निर्भर करेगा कि जिस तरीके के अफ़गानिस्तान इस एशिया कप में प्रदर्शन करेगा और सुपर 4 में जा पाएगा कि नहीं। डार्क हॉर्सेस तो बिल्कुल अफ़गानिस्तान एक डार्क हॉर्सेस है, अपसेट तो पुल करेगा ही। पता नहीं किसके साथ वो अपसेट पुल करेगा पर इफ सुपर 4 में जाके वो अपसेट करके फाइनल में पहुँच गया तो फिर तो मज़ा ही आ जाएगा क्योंकि
और आईसीसी
अफ़गानिस्तान
टूर्नामेंट्स में अफगानिस्तान का परफॉर्मेंस काफी अच्छा रहा है। मतलब वो 2019 का वर्ल्ड कप अगर हम लोग निकाल दे तो हम लोग देखते हैं कि अफगानिस्तान हर आईसीसी टूर्नामेंट एक ना एक तो अपसेट कर ही जाता है, एक ना एक बड़े टीम को तो हरा ही जाता है। और अगर ये स्क्वाड देखा जाए तो मेरे को लगता है कि काफी सारे एक्सपीरियंस प्लेयर्स हैं जो लोग अभी 4-5 साल से खेलते आए हैं। ये लोग काफी यंग भी है लेकिन काफी एक्सपीरियंस भी है क्योंकि अफगानिस्तान में 16-17 साल से हम लोग हजरतुल्लाह जजाई अभी 26-27 साल के होंगे लेकिन हम लोग 7-8 साल से उसका नाम सुनते आ रहे हैं क्योंकि वो बहुत इम्पैक्टफुल प्लेयर है। अफगानिस्तान में अभी बल्लेबाजी अगर देखा जाए, अगर बैटिंग देखा जाए तो उसमें इन लोगों के पास काफी सारे इम्पैक्टफुल एक्स फैक्टर प्लेयर्स है जो कि मैच का मतलब एक दो ओवर में गेम बदल दे सकते हैं ये लोग। तो बॉलिंग तो अच्छा है ही अफगानिस्तान का। बॉलिंग हमेशा से इन लोगों का मतलब स्ट्रांग पॉइंट रहा है। लेकिन अगर इस बार बैटिंग देखा जाए तो बैटिंग भी काफी अच्छा है। और एबेल ने बिल्कुल सही बोला कि बैटिंग पर ही निर्भर करेगा कि ये लोग कितना गेम जीत पाएंगे क्योंकि हमें पता है
जी,
कि
बिल्कुल।
अ, राशिद खान है, मुजीबुर रहमान है, नवीन उल हक का एक्सपीरियंस है और फजल हक फारूकी है जो कि डेथ ओवर्स में बढ़िया बॉल करते हैं।
जी,
यॉर्कर्स उनके बढ़िया रहते हैं। दिनेश
आप लोगों ने
कार्तिक ने
देखा
उनको
भी होगा कि जिस तरीके से उन्होंने सनराइज़र्स हैदराबाद के लिए
या
डेथ ओवर्स में प्रदर्शन किया है,
बस वो आईपीएल
कि
का एक ओवर अगर निकाल दे जहाँ पे दिनेश
हाँ,
कार्तिक ने उनको
दिनेश
3 छक्का
कार्तिक ने
मारा
उसको
था,
मारा
तो
था
उसके अलावा
वो
उन्होंने काफ़ी बढ़िया
और
बॉलिंग
उस
किया है।
ओवर में भी उसका कैच ड्रॉप हुआ था। मतलब पहला
हाँ,
बॉल में दिनेश कार्तिक ने मारा था स्क्वायर लेग सॉरी मिड विकेट की तरह
मिड
और
विकेट पे हाँ।
राहुल त्रिपाठी ने उस ओवर में दिनेश कार्तिक के कैच ड्रॉप किए थे। या तो उस ओवर कुछ भी हो सकता था। तो ऐसे ही होता है टी20 क्रिकेट में एक बुरा दिन किसी भी बॉलर को आ सकता है। तो फजल हक फारूकी ऐसा एक बॉलर है कि मतलब डेथ ओवर्स में काफ़ी काम करेगा अफ़गानिस्तान के लिए और नवीन उल हक भी जिस तरीके का उसका बैक ऑफ द हैंड स्लोअर बॉल है और जिस तरीके का उसका ऑफ कटर भी है, काफ़ी टफ होते हैं। उसका एक्शन इतना तेज़ है बैटर्स को काफ़ी टाइम लगता है रीड करने में और जिस तरीके से हाथ से बॉल पड़ने में भी। तो वो शारजाह में खेलेगा तो मैंने जैसे कहा श्रीलंका के बारे में भी, शारजाह एक ऐसा ग्राउंड रहेगा मतलब दूसरा-तीसरा मैच के बाद कि वेरिएशंस काफ़ी यूज़फुल आ सकता है क्योंकि पिछले बार भी स्कॉटलैंड के खिलाफ ही अफ़गानिस्तान ने टी20 वर्ल्ड कप में 200 के आस-पास मारे थे शारजाह में।
हुँ, हुँ।
तो शारजाह के ग्राउंड काफ़ी अच्छा लगता है अफ़गानिस्तान की टीम के लिए भी और अफ़गानिस्तान प्रीमियर लीग आपको पता हो तो अफ़गानिस्तान को जो प्रीमियर लीग होता था वो शारजाह में ही होता था। तो प्लेयर्स को भी अच्छा ऐसा एक होम में फील होता है शारजाह में खेल के। सो शारजाह का ग्राउंड काफी
उनको
इंपॉर्टेंट
उधर
रहेगा
खेलने का
अफगानिस्तान
आदत
के
है,
लिए।
और हम लोग देखते आए हैं कि हर बार बड़े टीम को अफगानिस्तान ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब हरा रहे हैं कि एक आउट ऑफ फॉर्म साउथ अफ्रीका को या श्रीलंका को हरा रहे हैं। मतलब जिस साल वेस्ट इंडीज ने टी20 वर्ल्ड कप जीता था, उस साल वेस्ट इंडीज बस एक गेम हारा था 2016 में, वो था अफगानिस्तान के खिलाफ, और वो एक लो स्कोरिंग एनकाउंटर था। तो अगर लो स्कोरिंग एनकाउंटर्स रहेगा तो मैं समझता हूँ कि अफगानिस्तान के पास एज रहेगा, क्योंकि उनका बॉलिंग बहुत स्ट्रांग है। बस उनको
जी
थोड़ा बैटिंग देखना है। अगर अगर बैटिंग में बल्लेबाजी थोड़ा कंसिस्टेंटली कर सके वो लोग, क्योंकि इन लोगों के पास प्लेयर्स है, इन लोगों के पास एक्स फैक्टर प्लेयर्स है। इन लोगों के पास रहमानुल्लाह गुरबाज है, हजरतुल्लाह जजाई है, उसके बाद नजीबुल्लाह जदरान है, मोहम्मद नबी है, और शाहिदी शाहिदी भी वन डाउन आता है, कभी 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 नीचे आता है, अच्छा बल्लेबाजी करता है। और एक्सपीरियंस में इन लोगों के पास शिनवारी है। मेरे को लगता है बॉलिंग में इन लोगों का, ये लोग मतलब राशिद खान तो पक्का खेलेगा, मुजीबुर रहमान खेलेगा, फजल हक फारूकी खेलेगा, नवीन उल हक खेलेगा, तो 4 प्लेयर
जी
तो इधर हो गया। और मेरे को लगता है कि पांचवा जो बॉलिंग ऑप्शन है वो मोहम्मद नबी और शेनवारी के बीच वो लोग अपना मतलब जिम्मेदारी बांट लेंगे। तो
जी बिल्कुल।
बॉलिंग भी ठीक ठाक लग रहा है, लेकिन मेरा कंसर्न है बैटिंग पे। अगर
यस।
अफगानिस्तान थोड़ा बैटिंग पे इंप्रूव कर ले, इंप्रूव नहीं, थोड़ा कंसिस्टेंसी अगर बढ़ा ले, तो ये बहुत अच्छा खेल सकते हैं, टॉप 4 में तो डेफिनेटली आ सकते हैं।
Gee, yeah, having said that, let's switch back to English now. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
think I
who
just
are the main
mentioned the
batters for
main batter from
Afghanistan?
Afghanistan, like
I
just
think
now
let's
in
pull out
Hindi.
their squad once again. So, if you look at their squad, you can understand that they've got someone like Rahmanullah Gurbaz, as I already mentioned. They've got Najibullah Zadran as well. He's an exciting batter to watch out for. And that I feel, I totally think
I
Mohammad
think
Nabi has got a
Hashmatullah
huge
Shahidi
future.
is one player who will sort of play the anchor's role in Afghanistan's batting unit, because there
I
is
think
the
Zazai,
exciting talents
Hazratullah
of.
Zazai is also going to be so important for this team because,
Yeah, because Hazratullah Zazai will definitely open the innings and he'll play his natural game, which is
yeah,
aggressive. So I
yeah.
think Rahmanullah Gurbaz and Zazai, if they come out to open the innings for Afghanistan, it is going to be very exciting, because if they get settled for 5-6 overs, we are going to see at least 60-70 runs scored.
I
But
mean,
after that, I think
that's the point. They can take on any ballers in the world, and these two
definitely with the
lads
experience
are
that they have playing
absolutely
all around the
fearless.
world.
Any
Yeah,
bowler in the world, I know they one might really talk about the quality or the talent they have, but then they still pack a punch. Let it be any bowling attack in the world, they are going to play one way of cricket. That's going to be to take the ballers on from the get go. That's why I totally think Hazratullah Zaza is going to be an interesting batter to watch out for. And you also saw him in the T20I World Cup. He was
I
packing a
think it
punch.
was
He was also
almost
one.
the similar squad that almost came close to beating India in the 2019 World Cup. I think at
Yes.
least 6 or 7 players from the lineup were in that playing 11 in the game against India, where the
Don't
hat trick
forget,
from
there's
Mohammad
another
Shami.
good all-rounder in their squad as well. Kareem Jannat is not a bad player. He's a player
Yeah,
who really
definitely.
takes
I
it,
I
takes it
was
back
talking
a punch.
thinking about the sixth bowling option in Shinwari, but Karim Jannat is another player who
Yeah,
can be a sixth bowling option.
one over he like to forget is that one onslaught which he had against Asif Ali in the T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
Where he conceded close to 18, 19 runs in that over.
No, he
But
just
other than that,
considered
he's
four
also
sixes and the game was done.
the game was done. But as I mentioned, everybody has a bad day, but you can't really judge a player based on that bad day. But let's talk about what he can really bring into the table. That's why I feel someone like Kareem Jannat is going to be such a crucial factor, and that's why I feel in T20 cricket you need all rounders. T20 cricket at large, all rounders really decide the game. All rounders really take the course of the game. That's why we say Hardik Pandey. That's why we said about Dasun Shanaka. And I feel Rashid Khan, Mohammad Nabi,
Karuna
Karim Jannat,
Ratne,
and
then
Shanwari
we
are going to
have
be the key players.
Hasaranga. We can also like rate Hasaranga as an all-rounder, and in this team we can definitely rate Rashid Khan as an all-rounder, because I will not be surprised if Rashid Khan is sent at number 5 or number 6. In a situation where they need 9-10 runs per over, because over the last 1.5 years he has proved himself to be that explosive power hitter who can give you that extra ammunition right at the end, especially in the IPL game that we saw, that the game that they pulled off, that chase against Sunrisers Hyderabad. I guess they were chasing 195, needed 31 runs of the
Yeah.
last two
I mean, we
overs.
have a question from Nabil also on the same lines, like as to Nabil. Nabil says, where should Rashid bat and what's the ideal position? I mean, yeah, Rashid really wants himself to bat at number 6, number 7, and he calls himself to be a very good batter as well. And if
Yeah.
you have heard Rashid Khan
He rates
interviews,
himself very
he
highly. I
rates
mean,
himself
I
very
was
highly
seeing
as an
an interview
all-rounder.
where Rashid Khan was like, I can definitely go and open the innings for Afghanistan. I've done it for my club team, domestic side. I am definitely capable enough to come in and open the innings
I
for
mean,
Afghanistan.
if he's got the ability to turn the match, if you talk about two of those games, one was against Chennai Super Kings and one was against Sunrisers Hyderabad. He
Yeah.
came towards the end, he scored those quick fire 30, 40. Even against RCB, I saw a couple of times. He'd really take on the ballers. And
As a
this year,
KKR
especially
fan, I remember the game against KKR, the eliminator game where Rashid Khan came into bat, scored 25 runs of 7 balls, came into bowl, picked up 3 wickets, affected 2 runouts, and it was a single-handed game. I think it was the 2017 or 18 season of the IPL, the eliminator game. And KKR were on cruising along, both with bat and ball, and then Rashid Khan just simply turned the game around. So he's that kind of a player who can do the job. We all know he's probably the best bowler right now in the world in the T20I format, and definitely with the bat as well. Best spinner you can say, because one might argue there are fast bowlers who are equally potent enough.
I
But
mean, for me, he's
yeah,
a global superstar. I rate him
definitely a
as
global
big as
superstar.
any global superstars like Chris Gayle.
He's a
You talk about
household name
Glenn
all
Bravo.
across the world.
Yeah, right now he's an household name. I remember how he came into the ranks from the 2016 World Cup, and 2017 was where he actually made his name in the IPL. But from there on, he never looked back. He's been that 4 overs quota. It's the opposition teams really fear facing him because on Rashid Khan's day, he can absolutely break the back of any batting attack in the world. 4 overs might look like 40 overs for many of the teams. So that's why many of the teams don't really take a risk against him. And his record against Babar Azam, for example, he's dismissed him 5 times. So he has got the number against some of the top players. Like against Rohit Sharma, he's got a very good number. Against Virat
Yeah.
Kohli, he's got a very good number. Against Babar Azam, he's got a very good number.
When you have a
So you're
bowling
talking
average
about
of
him
close
against
to
world
13,
beaters.
14 at the end of 60 T20 internationals, you are definitely going to have good numbers against all the players. So
Absolutely.
it's a given. I mean, Rashid Khan is definitely going to be the key, definitely the trump card for Afghanistan. And I think teams will be looking to play him out. That's what the approach was in the 2021 IPL. When you one might consider that he did not have the best of seasons for Sunrisers Hyderabad. Sunrisers Hyderabad did not have the best of seasons because they did not have bowlers to support Rashid Khan. I think it is going to be very important for Afghanistan to have players like Mujibur Rahman, Fazal Haq Faruqi to put that pressure, to apply that pressure, so that once Rashid Khan applies the brakes from one end, they can come in, create that pressure, and capitalize on that pressure, picking up wickets. I think Mujibur
Mm.
Rahman is going to be very critical for Afghanistan, especially because teams are going to look to play out Rashid Khan. So they are going
I
to
mean, let's
target
pull
the
out the
remaining
squad
16
for one
overs.
last time and see. If you look at their squad on the paper, the 15, they've named 17, and from the 17 in itself,
I think
uh,
Hazratullah Zazai. No, sorry. I think Najibullah Zadran is repeated in the list.
yeah. I think it's been
Yeah,
repeated. That's my bad.
yeah.
But other than that, 16 strong members. But I also feel someone like Fazil Haq Faruqi, as I already mentioned. But alongside him, Naveen ul Haq is one bowler, as I already mentioned, is gonna create a lot of havoc for batters because
I
if
think they are
these
going to be
three,
the starters. I think the bowling lineup that I mentioned. I think definitely Fazal Haq Faruqi, Navinul Haq, Mujibur Rahman, Rashid Khan, and Karim Jannat and Mohammad Nabi are going to be the fifth and sixth bowling options for Afghanistan in the first game. Along with the firepower that they have with the bat, I think so. It's going to be very interesting to see how they go with the bat, because I think we both can agree on the fact that their bowling looks really strong. I mean, 8 overs of their bowling looks really strong. I'm not so sure about Navinul Haq and Mujibur Rahman. What sort of Mujibur Rahman we'll get to see? If it's the Mujibur Rahman of old, he has been affected with quite a few injuries in the recent past. So I think that is going to be a concern. But other than that, I think players are going to target Navinul Haq. Players are going to target their fifth bowling option, and definitely they are going to look to exploit the batters, because the batters are really aggressive and they are going to have that aggressive intent. That is why I feel players like Hashmatullah Sahidi, who will come in at number 3, number 4, who is a sort of a Pasum Nisanka sort of a player, who comes in,
yeah.
takes his time, goes about his business at a strike rate of close to
Someone like
100.
Asmatullah Omarzai as well. He's been pretty decent for
Yeah,
Afghanistan, and Omarzai is going to be one player to watch. If he gets an opportunity, I think he's going to be one player to watch out for from this squad as well. Because we've been talking about underdogs at large, because these players need to be corrected with. Shruti, I'll be coming to that question. Every media in our country only talks about India this, India that. Nobody talks. in depth about other teams. Kudos to you lads. Thank you so much, because our point is that, and yeah, great graphics. Credits to our creators, graphic designers, the two, Devjit and Gopinath. Huge kudos to you lads. Without you lads, it's very tough for us to pull out these lives as well. They are the ones who work behind the scenes. So Devjit and Gopinath, huge shout out to you lads on the live stream, because they have been the ones who have been the backbone for us to create these visuals and bring out some enthralling visuals, rather. We just come out and talk about the visuals, what they create and whatever they present to us. So without them, it's very tough for us as well. So credits to them for the graphics and visuals. But yeah, we want to talk about every team in depth because we enjoy cricket rather than we talking about one particular team. Of course, we have our own
And I think
biases
we
here
can
and
only
there, but
talk about India this, India that, once we once we really get to know what kind of oppositions India are facing, or what kind of oppositions Pakistan are facing. It's all about like the big tournaments in the end, the World Cup, the T20 World Cup. But it's all about the process. I mean, if you follow how we have been going about our business in the last 3-4 months, we have been covering all sorts of series that has been leading up to this Asia Cup, that is going to be leading up to the T20 World Cup. And I think that is how you should go about things, because
I mean,
once
we've
you
not been able to
have the
cover
full
almost
picture,
every
it's
series in the world. It's so hard, but with so much of cricket and with so much of things happening around today, for example, England are taking on South Africa. We'll be talking about that as well. We'll be coming tomorrow to talk about it because it's been a field day for England, and South Africa has been absolutely bamboozled in many ways,
and
as we
it's been the
see
old
right now.
guns. We can call them the old
Yeah.
guns. It's
I
been
mean, I don't want to call them the old guns.
Anderson and Broad.
They've been the past, present, and I also think they're going to be the future for England going ahead because they're such
Definitely.
they just get better with every match they play. And Anderson, I don't be surprised if he actually challenges Mutaya Mulidan for 800 as well. I know it's a different topic to
And
talk
I
about.
won't be surprised if I get to see Anderson to play at the age of 45, because the fitness that he is maintaining, and he looks really fit. Not just with his bowling. We often see a lot of fast
Crazy
bowlers.
player,
Yeah, we
crazy
often
player.
see a lot of fast bowlers with age, they slow down. Yeah, they put all their effort to when they're bowling, but when they're fielding, we don't see 100%. But if you consider somebody like a Stuart Broad, James Anderson, they give their 110% on the field as well. They will chase the balls right through the, like, right till the boundary. We don't see that often for a fast bowler who is aged 38, 39, 40 do that. And I think it's very inspiring for the youngsters. And it just goes to show that if you are fit, you can, age is just a number if you're fit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, age is just a number, as one would rightly say. And we'd like to get back to talking about Bangladesh. Next squad is
Yeah,
definitely Bangladesh, which is lined up. I think Afghanistan. It's an interesting squad. I think it's going to be
yeah,
Hazratullah Zaza and Gurbaz opening the batting, and from there on, I think it's going to be a lot of players. And I think it's going to be a flexible batting order for many reasons.
yeah. I
Najibullah
think
Zadran, I see
Zazai,
batting at number
Zadran,
four.
Mohammad Nabi will consist their middle order,
Middle order, and I
followed
think
by
Rashid
Rashid
Khan
Khan.
and
Yeah,
Karim Jannat will be their lower
Karim
middle
Jannat.
order.
Yeah,
And they will have their bowling attack in Mujibur Rahman. Then they will have, for example, Shanwari will be there in that lineup. And also they'll have someone like Naminul Haq and Fazal Farooqi in that bowling attack as well. That's pretty much going to be their 11 to conclude talking about Afghanistan. Bangladesh के बारे में हम बात करने वाले हैं अभी. So we'll start off by talking about Bangladesh. Your thoughts on Anderson versus McGrath? Who's better? Love from NSW. That's New South Wales. I think Michelle, it's way too late in New South Wales. So thank you for that. Thank you for watching us even late in the middle of the night. I think it's early morning in New South Wales rather.
yeah. I think
So
it's 4
Anderson versus
4:30.
McGrath is a tough call because
What's
I'm
your pick?
personally a
I
huge
really want to
fan
know
of
your pick, because
Anderson.
I have I have a winner out of the two.
Who is it?
For me, it's McGrath, because yeah, I mean, James Anderson has been doing it for the country for 18 years. But when you talk about Glenn McGrath, he's class, and I mean, yeah, you just can't. He's a sort of a legend. Like, if you ask me to compare between Kohli and somebody like a Sachin Tendulkar, I'll definitely go for Tendulkar. So for me,
I
it's
mean,
McGrath.
yeah, I
I'm
mean,
one of
for
those old school
me,
guys.
I've seen McGrath. I've been fortunate to see McGrath towards the latter part of his career. But there's something about Anderson, man. There's something about
Definitely,
him.
definitely.
I
You
am a
don't.
huge fan of Anderson. I'm a huge fan of James Anderson. So I'll have to go with Anderson because he comes in my top three favorite
So
bowlers
it's
of
a
all
split
time.
in the panel.
It's a definite split because we are two people. But if we had a third
Yeah,
person, we could absolutely finalize the debate. Maybe we'll bring this question up. If Michelle, if you can
very
join
soon.
us tomorrow, if we can get another, we'll hopefully get third person on the podcast tomorrow, and we'll actually get this decision on who's the goat of fast bowling in Test cricket. Is it Anderson or is it Megra? For me, it is Anderson. For Sandipani, it's
But I think
Megra.
tomorrow the primary discussion will be on the Asia Cup because
Yeah,
it's
it is
just
going to be an
starting
Asia
to
Cup,
happen
but
tomorrow.
this question is certainly something which I'm going to pull out. Michelle, I hope you come tomorrow and ask this question. Uh, but it's a tough debate to actually settle, because over the years the greatest of the pundits have talked about it. In the recent times, the stars definitely talk about Anderson, but Megra is a lot more about impact, and Megra did not have a longevity like Anderson has got right now. I don't know how
Yeah, he
long
was affected
Anderson
by
will go
a
for.
couple of injuries. Yeah,
Yeah, let's see. I
but
mean,
but you have to consider. Yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Let's just go to the Bangladesh squad.
Bangladesh team before that also,
Yeah.
I don't know what you people think about having someone like Malcolm Marsh as well, because he had a very short career compared to many of the bowlers, but then he's also rated as the goat of fast bowling for many reasons. Vakar Yunus, for example. So it's
Yeah, I
tough.
think
I think we'll have a
when you
debate
talk about
on the
fast
fast
bowling,
bowlers
Wasim
right
Akram,
after
Wakar
the Asia
Yunis.
Cup. We'll talk about the greatest of all time in fast bowling. I don't want to
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
bowlers because then
Because
you
there
get
is Courtney
spinners also.
Walsh.
Yeah, we'll have a separate discussion for this. Who was the greatest
Definitely,
of all time as
definitely.
a fast bowler from Test cricket? We'll talk about it in depth. Let's go to Bangladesh squad, Bangladesh Tigers as they call themselves. One of the best teams in the recent past to have really come of age. Three-time finalists of Asia Cup. 2012 they made it to the finals.
And three times in the last four
2016 the
seasons of the Asia
finals.
Cup. So
Yeah, 2016 they were in the finals, and 2018 as
18.
well they were in the finals. So last three occasions when Asia Cup were played, they were in the finals. So this is a fourth Asia Cup for them. So last they were the runners up for the last three times. They've been losing finals consistently, but so they're definitely not an underdog as well, because they are constantly there. We can say in the last three out of two occasions, no, two out of the last three occasions they played at home. So of course, home ground advantage is a huge factor for Bangladesh. When they play in the
I
Shere
think
Bangla
they were in
Stadium,
the finals in the three of the last four Asia Cups. I think there
it was
was a
it was
Asia Cup in
three out of
2014.
three.
Yeah. I think in
14.
2014 it was Pakistan versus Sri Lanka. In
Oh yeah,
2012 it
correct,
was
correct.
Pakistan versus Bangladesh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just missed off 2014 Asia Cup. I
Yeah.
remember that. So yeah, three out of the four times. 2012 they came very close. 2016, it was a rain affected game. 2018 it was a very close game as well. It was played in Dubai. It was a 50 over format back then. But let's pull out their squad initially. Then Shakib Al Hasan is back leading the squad, because that's a huge news for them. Shakib Al Hasan, with the experience he's going to bring. Then you've got someone like Ibadul Hussain. He's been one of the most impressive people coming out of Bangladesh in the recent times. They've got Saifuddin, they've got Mehdi Hassan Miraj, another interesting all-rounder, Mushfiqur Rahim, everlasting Mushfiqur Rahim. Mustafiz is always there in this squad. Uh, for me, Mossadegh Hussain is one of the players to watch out for from this particular squad, because Mossadegh Hussain has been a very impressive player for them in the recent past as well. Bangladesh team, how do you see? Because they're coming off a series loss against Zimbabwe, not in best of forms in the recent times. Hence, they've appointed
They
someone like Shakib
definitely
Hassan at
did
the
not
helm.
have their captain. I think Shakib Al Hasan was not present in the Zimbabwe series, and I think they definitely missed him dearly, and they definitely needed the boost that they got with his presence in the team. And even after that series loss against Zimbabwe, it was not considered in the league, in the Super League, World Cup Super League. A lot of criticism about the point system and the teams that they play. I mean, there has been a huge debate going on over there, but just keeping all of the things aside, they have played 12 games in the Super League. They have won 10 out of it. So definitely Bangladesh are no joke. And definitely you have the experienced stalwarts in the form of Shakib Al Hasan, Mushfiqur Rahim, there is Mahmudullah, there is Mustafizur Rahman. I mean, you can even call him an experienced campaigner right now. And we have been talking how all-rounders play a huge impact in T20 internationals, and Shakib Al Hasan is one of the best all-rounders across all formats. I think he's going to make a return for the Bangladesh team after an injury, and I think it is going to be very important how he goes. And they
Mm.
definitely needed this sort of a boost, like the captain coming back to sort of gain any sort of momentum, because a series loss against Zimbabwe is going to hurt, especially because you are in the number 2 position of the World Cup Super League when India is only at 5. it's a huge thing for them. And we have seen that they have been the prime contenders in the last two seasons of the Asia Cup, going head to head against India. But I think the recent form is definitely not going to be on their side. I mean, Pakistan, Sri Lanka definitely look the better sides on paper. But yeah, again, a lot of youngsters. I mean, I like how you said Musaddiq Hussain. Yeah, definitely a very good youngster to watch out for. Did not do very well in the in the test matches that he go, like he the opportunity he gets in the test matches. But I like how he has capitalized his opportunities in the short limited overs format of the game. And I think
Mm.
another important player for them is going to be Mehdi Hassan Miraj. I
Yeah.
think he has been very good. He's a very young guy. He has been very good for Bangladesh in the past, both with bat and ball. I think primarily he's a bowling all rounder, but even
Mm.
with the bat, he can change the course of the game on any given day. So
Can
I feel
Bangladesh
out
really
of the
do
five
well
teams,
because they've been on a decline? I think Saini, I think that that makes a lot of sense. I think as you Sandeepan has been already talking about, they've been not in the best of forms in the recent past, but I can't really find a reason as to why they've really declined in the last couple of years. And I was really surprised with the way in which they played in the T20 World Cup as well. They were really out of sorts. They lost all their games. They were
I
really
think their
not there.
bowling department does not look stable at all, because I think there is Mustafizur Rahman, and when Shakib Al Hasan plays, there are eight
And
overs
also the
sorted.
batting also have been a little edgy. They've not really been consistent in terms of
Yeah,
delivering.
yeah.
And it's a case with all the underdog teams, right? If their batting really does well, they can actually go on to do really well in the tournament. And if you talk about Bangladesh in the last couple of editions of the Asia Cup, they went on to do well in the Asia Cup because their batting really stepped up. Someone like Liton Das, in the last couple of editions of the Asia Cup, he really stepped up. Tamim Iqbal was so crucial for them. But
Yeah.
in this current Bangladesh team, that it doesn't look like there's a player. Of course, there's Shakib Al Hasan. He's been everlasting presence for the Bangladesh team, and Mushfiqur Rahman also has been there for them. But if you're relying on these two lads, it's not going to be off. It's not often that they're going to step up. They
I
might
mean, there
step up
is
in a couple of
Muhammadullah,
games.
but yeah, I totally agree with your point that you can't rely on one, two, three players to win you the game on every occasion. And we have seen that they have been relying not even on Mushfiqur Rahim. I feel they have been relying too heavily on Shakib Al Hasan over the last 2 3 years, and that ban that Shakib Al Hasan got in between. I think that is the time when they were really not able to beat any of the top teams. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, so I definitely feel that they have been on a sort of decline, but they have fair enough experience in the bowling lineup as well. There is
Hmm.
Taskin Ahmed, there is Ibadat Hussain, there is Mustafizur Rahman, definitely there is Mohammad Saifuddin. So this is a
Hmm.
team that is sort of pace heavy
I mean,
as
Shabir
compared to the
Rahman is
other
another
teams.
player, to really watch out from the squad because, as you mentioned about the bowling attack, Shabir Rahman is a good player to watch out for because he's impressed everybody in the short stint in his international career. And if I talk about
Yeah.
batting in particular, Anamul Haq is another batter. It's going to be interesting to see how he really progresses. And of course, Mahmudullah has been there in this team, and Mahmudullah is also going to be a key factor for this team, especially when it comes to the finishing department.
But I
He's
think when
also
you
led
talk
that
about
team.
Anamul Haq, I feel he is more of a test player, because technically very correct, technically very good, but he does not have that acceleration game. Another player which the another problem with this Bangladesh side is a lot of players are those players who will give you like innings of with strike rates of 120, 130, 140. There are no explosive players really. I mean, there are one or two players who can go about, like Mossadegh Hussain is definitely one of those players who can definitely take the attack on the opposition and go at a strike rate of 200. But still, Mushfiqur Rahim, Shakib Al Hasan, Anamul Haq, they take a while to get going. I mean, scoring at around 120, 130, that has been another concern for them. They are not just scoring fast enough to sort of uh, pose a threat when they're batting first, and the bowlers just does not have enough to defend, to play with. And I definitely feel they have the experience, but out of the five teams that we discussed so far, we haven't discussed about Hong Kong. But barring Hong Kong, this is the side that looks the weakest. I
Yeah,
mean, I'll be very surprised if they get to if they manage to beat Afghanistan. I mean, when
yeah.
Bangladesh plays Afghanistan, I definitely feel Afghanistan will be
I mean,
going into the game
Afghanistan and
as
Sri
favorites.
Lanka are close to being the two close favorites alongside India and Pakistan. For me, the
Yeah.
Super Fours are almost ready. I know we have to talk about Bangladesh in depth because they are a very good squad and they are the They made it to the final three out of the four occasions, as we already mentioned, and they are a tough contender for this Asia Cup as well. Like, can they finally get to that glory which they've been missing out on? Because losing in the finals after coming so close in a couple of occasions, it definitely hurts. And Asian glory is something which Bangladesh has been on the quest for. And definitely you can't. You don't want to call them as a world beaters, or you don't want to put them on the similar lanes as being in the World Cup favorites. But Asian glory is something which they've come very close to conquering, but they've not really conquered it. So it's something which they can finally do it, and that's what the Bangladeshi fans will hope. That's what everybody in Dhaka will be hoping as
And
well.
I definitely
What
feel
you
that
both talk
Asia
passionately.
Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead,
Yeah,
go ahead.
just go ahead. Yeah. So I definitely feel that Asia Cup, Bangladesh were really close to winning the Asia Cup, but I definitely feel the golden period of Bangladesh cricket, that this generation brought about, Tamim Iqbal, Mushfiqur Rahim, Shakib Al Hassan, and one might also say Mohammad Ashraful. I think that 2005, 2006, the players who sort of made an name for themselves in 2006, 2007, started to make a name for themselves since
Mm,
2007.
mm,
I think this generation, the golden period is over. I definitely feel that
yeah.
they were on their peak during the 2014-15, where they made it to the World Cup quarterfinals. They did a phenomenal job in whichever tournaments that they played, ICC tournaments, Asia Cup.
Nidahas
Did
Trophy as well. They went
yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
final, but
Nidahas
they
Trophy
lost
as
the
well.
last ball. I mean, they've come so close to clinching a title, but they've not really clinched it. It's
But
you
I
know,
think I
for
definitely
a
feel
team
with
like
this
Bangladesh,
generation, the golden period is
that
over.
kind of improvement in itself was a huge deal. I know they've not really
Yeah,
got the silverware to tell that they've achieved something in Asia or in the World Cup stage. The Champions Trophy as well. They made it to the semi-final of the Champions Trophy in
yeah, yeah,
2017.
yeah.
So it was a golden period of the Bangladesh cricket. But then right now, it's time for the
I think
transition
the
to take
problem
place.
is they don't have players to pass the baton on to. I mean, they haven't got a replacement for Shakib Al Hassan. They haven't
Yeah.
got a replacement for Mushfiqur
I mean,
Rahim. They don't have
it's
a
so
replacement
tough
for
to replace
Mahmudullah.
a player like Shakib Al Hasan, even in the world stage. How many players do you
Yeah,
have
okay. I
with the
mean,
talent of Shakib Al Hasan?
you just have to like sort of work to get a replacement for Mahmudullah, Mushfiqur Rahim. I think their best player from the current generation. I really like how Liton Das goes about his business. I mean, he can be a like to like replacement, a better replacement when it comes to Mushfiqur Rahim. I mean, Mushfiqur Rahim has achieved so much. He's
Yeah.
almost a Bangladeshi legend right now.
He is a
But I
legend. I mean,
definitely
there's
feel
no almost. I think these
yeah, yeah,
lads
yeah.
are all
I definitely
legends.
feel Liton Das has the ability in himself to sort of like over trump somebody like a Mushfiqur Rahim, because he has
Absolutely.
been performing very consistently. He has been very good, but I think there are some injury concerns and definitely some tussle with the board as well. We all know that the Bangladesh cricket board does not often like they are not very well uh, sort of, they don't have a very good relationship with their players. uh, Not the best of relationships. They have a good relationship but not the best of relationships. And also I think the injuries is a huge concern for Liton Das, because I think he has been injured like severely twice now. And I think missing this sort of big tournaments is going to definitely hinder their progress, because I definitely feel from the young lot there is this Mehdi Hassan Miraz, there is players like Liton Das, Soumya Sarkar to some extent, but definitely they don't have a like to like replacement for somebody like a Tamim Iqbal, Mahmudullah, Mushfiqur Rahim, who have been dominating the world cricket. Leave aside Shakib Al Hasan.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt why we don't believe that Bangladesh can't do well. But at the same time, we have to give credit to their coaching staff as well. They've really built a team for ages for Bangladesh. But then right now it's time for transition. Thank you, Tammy, because I mean, we don't want to disturb anybody's sleep at night, but the kind of love which you've been showing towards us in the last few months, you've been a consistent viewer for us. Thank you for that. I think you can have a good sleep, and I hope we've been able to keep you entertained through this course of time as well. I don't want to take that question. Let's go to the next one. Yeah. Next thing, what we want to really talk about Bangladesh is their batting attack, right? Uh, what will exactly be their batting lineup going into this going into the Asia Cup? Because because up top you might see Anamul Haq opening the batting, but then do they really have a top order really to really go about it? Because Tamim Iqbal has been a consistent player for Bangladesh, especially in the limited overs format, especially in T20 cricket, to say the least. To fill the boots of Tamim Iqbal is going to take a huge time, isn't it? Because he used to give those starts for Bangladesh when they really wanted it, but now with no
I
Tamim
mean, they
Iqbal in the
don't have
squad.
Tamim Iqbal, they don't have Liton Das, so I definitely feel for Bangladesh. They don't have most of their big players who could have sort of made an impact in the game. But yeah, you can't do anything about it. I mean, definitely right now it looks like Anamul Haq is going to open the innings. They have a stable middle order, a very experienced middle order in the form of Shakib Al Hasan, Mushfiqur Rahim, and Mohammedullah. But I feel that we are going to see a lot of pinch hitters and floaters being sent up the order when it comes to Bangladesh. Especially, I would be very happy if I get to see players like Afif Hussain and Mosaddeq Hussain like come up the order. And sort of have a chance, even Mehdi Hassan Miraz, to come at number 3, number 4, and take the attack on the opposition. Because clearly from this side, I definitely feel that they don't have the firepower, the explosion, that explosive players that you need to sort of give you strong finishes. So might as well use pinch hitters and floaters right at the top to create pressure on the opposition. So I think that will be very interesting if you get to see that. But other
I
than
mean,
that, I
yeah.
think they have a stable middle order, and the bowling lineup is also not the best. So yeah, really, Bangladesh are the real underdogs. When you talk about the three teams that we have discussed right now, I think Bangladesh are the true underdogs out of the three.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Bangladesh are one of the underdogs to say the least, but then it's also tough to put them on a pedestal with India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka at this point because of the very reason that their form has been on a decline. Or else I would have really put them on a pedestal with India, Pakistan because they've been that good in the recent past. I'm talking about from 2015 to 2020 at least. You know, they've been really good. There have been phases or patches where they've really come out as some of the favorites for the tournament as well, especially in the last couple of editions of Asia Cup. They were one of the favorites to win the Asia Cup.
Yeah.
But right now, it's tough to put them on the same pedestal or same parallel with India and Pakistan. It's unfortunate things which happen among Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. Who's got the better chance to win the Asia Cup? It's
I
tough, right? It's
definitely
a
think
tough,
it's Sri
tough.
Lanka. No, I think it's a fair enough call. I think Sri Lanka are the favorites out of the three teams, given the current form. But I won't be surprised if Afghanistan gets the better of Sri Lanka right in the first game itself. Because it's all about how you handle the pressure and how consistent you are as a team. I mean, when you talk about the talent and the sort of form that players and teams are in right now, Sri Lanka are the favorites among the three teams. But
Hmm.
Afghanistan, if they can be consistent, they can get the better of Sri Lanka. But I would still back Sri Lanka to be third in the Asia Cup. I mean, they're the third favorites after India and Pakistan. And Bangladesh, I mean, I would really like to see them play good cricket. I don't know whether they'll be able to create an upset against India and Pakistan or not. But when they are playing against Afghanistan and Sri Lanka, it all goes down to consistency and how you play in that on that given day and how you handle the pressure. So I won't be surprised if we get to see Bangladesh beating Afghanistan and Sri Lanka, but I don't think an upset is on the cards when Bangladesh plays India or Pakistan. But definitely when Afghanistan and Sri Lanka play India, Pakistan, you can definitely see a very close contest.
Yeah, rightfully mentioned. And what about Shabir Rahman? Yeah, I kind of put Shabir Rahman right there alongside Mosaddek Hussain to be the two players to watch out for from this tournament because for Bangladesh there are some positives as well when we talk about the youngster. Shabir Rahman is as good a player as possibly in the Bangladesh squad in terms of the quality, in terms of the talent he possesses. I think three youngsters or three players whom you should be really watching out from the mainstream players like Shakib and Mushfiqur and Mahamudullah are Shabir, Mehdi, and Mosaddiq Hussain. You know, these three lads
Yeah.
are top notch, and alongside
And
him will be
definitely Mustafizur.
Ibadat
Don't
as
forget
well.
Mustafizur, because I think Mustafizur
Yeah,
with
I
his
mean,
death over bowling,
Mustafizur is
but
really
he
good.
definitely needs support from the other end. You can't have Mustafizur bowling the death overs going for 7 runs in 2 overs from the other end. Somebody like a probably Ibadat Hussain coming in giving out 30, 40 runs in 2 overs. But I think with Saifuddin they have a decent enough bowling lineup. I think Saifuddin and Mustafizur Rahman operating at the death overs is what we'll get to see for Bangladesh. And when talking about Shabbir Rahman, I think he is one of the like candidates to open the innings for Bangladesh. I think definitely he's going to come up, like really come at the top, especially because Tamim Iqbal and Liton Das are not in the squad. I definitely feel players like Musaddiq Hussain, Shabbir Rahman should get a go,
I mean,
like
I
should
have I have a
get
hunch
the
that
nod.
they might send Mehdi Hasan Miraj to open the batting. He's done it previously in a couple of
Yeah.
occasions. He's done.
But
Mehdi
I
Hasan
don't
Miraj.
really like Mehdi Hassan Miraz coming in as an opener, because again Mehdi Hassan Miraz is a sort of a player who will take his time to get going. If you are sending somebody from the middle order, lower middle order, might as well send your most explosive player, who can make like take the game away right in the power play, and
Yeah.
get that pressure on the opposition. If Bangladesh can score 60 70 runs in the first 6 overs, even though after losing 1 or 2 wickets, they have enough firepower in the middle order to take the team to 200. So I definitely feel the start is going to be important, and that is going to be a concern for Bangladesh, because I don't really see a consistent top order batsman.
I mean, definitely, because if you're talking about, having their main players to bat in crucial positions, that's what's going to hopefully help Bangladesh to make it to the top four, the Super Four as they call it. We've got another question on where should Shakib Al Hassan bat. It's an interesting question for many reasons because Shakib Al Hassan in Bangladesh team has batted in different positions in different
For
tournaments.
me,
There's been
he's a perfect fit at number three. I think
Number three.
Shakib
For
at
me, it will be
three.
number three.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
batted really well at number three in the World Cup as well. If you remember in the 2019 World Cup, he did really well. Batting at number three, and same. I also think Mehdi Hasan Miraj will open the batting, considering what he actually possesses. And Mehdi Hasan is not your hard hitter towards the latter part, right?
yeah.
The best use what you can have him with the bat is opening the batting. And if he can give you the 20 runs of 20 25 runs of 15 17 balls, you will take that in any day compared to
I think
10 or
the
15
Bangladesh
balls of.
innings, the two players that is going to build the Bangladesh innings is Shakib Al Hasan coming in at number three, and
Yeah.
I predict Mushfiqur Rahim to come in at number four, and they are going to be the
Alhamdulillah.
fulcrum of the innings.
Yeah.
They are going to hold the innings together, and then you will have
I
Muhammadullah
expect
and
Shabir to
Mosaddiq
come at
Hussain.
number. I have a slight twist. Shabir to come at number five and Mahamadullah at number six. And number seven, if Mehdi Hassan doesn't bat in the opening, number
Mosaddiq,
seven will be
Mosaddiq, Mosaddiq Hussain at seven.
Mostly at seven, and then Mehdi
Yeah,
should open the batting in that case either ways. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
Mehdi will definitely open the batting at this. Looking at this scenario right now, Mehdi will open the batting. Shakib at number three, number four is going to be Mushfiqur Rahman, and
right.
then
Yeah,
you have number five is going to be Shabir at number six, Mahamadullah, and Mosaddeq at number seven. They can also switch the batting order depending on situations. If on a given day, Mushfiqur Rahman is as deadly a wicket keeping batsman in the world as anybody because he's got the ability to take on the ballers. If he really
yeah.
wants to come in at number three, he can also come in at number three, and Shakib can go number four. But then
Yeah, I mean,
Shakib should
the
bat number
key
three for me
concept
in
is
the.
going to be they are going to play majority of the inning. I mean, if Bangladesh lose 1 or 2 wickets early, I think the innings is going to be built around Shakib Al Hasan and Mushfiqur Rahim, who are going to look to play right till the end of the innings, and then you will have power hitters like Muhammadullah, Musaddiq Hussain, Sabbir Rahman, who can come in the later stages of the game and capitalize on whatever opportunities they get. And I will not at all be disappointed if they send in a floater. If they send in somebody like a Muhammadullah at number three on any given day when they need 170, 180 runs to win. I think Muhammadullah coming in at number three, or for that matter, even Sabbir Rahman or Musaddiq Hussain coming in at number three, and playing a 20, 30 runs knock of 7, 8 balls just to boost the confidence and the morale of the team. That is going to be great. But again,
Yeah,
Shakib Al Hasan knows how to build the innings, and I definitely feel that he's going to take the leadership role and come in at number three. And
yeah.
definitely, we are not
I mean,
going to see any
Shakib
more.
at number three is your best bet for Bangladesh as well. If you
Yeah,
look, Shakib previously also when he is batted number three, always tends to deliver pretty well for the team. And even here, Shakib Al being the captain of the team, I expect him to take the owners. If he goes number four, number six, that really doesn't help the cause of the team because he should be batting at number three. Because ultimately, this is a 20-over game. Your best batter should be batting as many balls as possible. And even given the kind of the depth they've got in their batting attack and
all
given
the
the
more reason
dynamics
I
of the.
think Gunatilaka is not going to make the playing 11 for Sri Lanka. I mean, we have been very harsh on Gunatilaka, but yeah, that's what I feel. Your best
Yeah, I
players should
think
play most of the balls, and
yeah.
an opener coming in and batting at an average of 17. I just can't get beyond that fact. I mean,
I mean,
even
let's
Rishabh
see.
Pant was chasing.
It's time for Gunatilaka to actually deliver in a big stage like this. We'll
Yeah,
see
I think this is
in
going
the
to be a
opening
do
day
or
how
die
they go
series for
about
him.
it. Thank you, Shruti, for that. It means a lot because, as I already mentioned in the one of the questions which we had, our whole point is to cover every squad equally. Let it be India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Hong Kong, or whoever it is. We want to cover every squad equally. I know the qualifiers are on. Hong Kong are the first team to qualify into the Asia Cup from the qualifiers. It's been a very enthralling qualifiers in Oman because you saw the kind of cricket which was played throughout the qualifiers, right? Because you
Yeah,
had
and it was very
no
competitive.
yeah, it was very competitive. It was cricket of the highest quality as well. Let's not forget that. Even today you saw Kuwait winning over Kuwait also did pretty well today, and Kuwait defeated UAE as well. So Kuwait is another team who really impressed me quite a bit because I expect Kuwait to be the least favorite among the three, but then Kuwait really surprised, pulled off a
I definitely
huge
thought
surprise.
that did not expect Hong Kong to do so well. I definitely thought that UAE were going to make the cut, especially they have such young, exciting talents. So
Yeah.
Hong Kong is a pleasant surprise, and I think the entire the
So
entire
for me,
team, the
Hong Kong,
country
I
of Hong Kong will
expected
do,
Hong
yeah.
Kong to do well because Hong Kong has previously done well as well. But for me, the surprising factor has been Kuwait. Kuwait has been
Yeah.
one team who has done really well. Two wins now, one over UAE, one over Singapore. And I think they will be the next team to qualify into the Asia Cup as well now, considering what is the given scenario. So Kuwait could be that team. Kuwait is a very good team. Let's not forget that because if Kuwait qualifies, it's going to be their maiden ever major tournament. So very interesting to see how they go about in this tournament. Kuwait is one team to watch out for. Looks like Kuwait it is going to be because with the net run rate they've got, uh, it just looks like it's going to be Kuwait, man. I mean, I have no doubts why it shouldn't be Kuwait in the Asia Cup qualifiers. I'm going to pull out what is going to be the likely scenarios. I'll try to pull that off in the screen as well. Now, as it looks like, I'm sorry, guys. As it looks like, it is going to be Kuwait with the net run rate as well. Uh, I mean, interesting to say the least. Somewhere or the other, I just feel that a team like Kuwait, could possibly, I mean, sorry. Actually, there are six teams in the Asia Cup. Let's not forget that. It's
Yeah, yeah,
not. It's
yeah.
not. So I think that's it. The qualifiers are done. It's not going to be
Yeah,
Kuwait. It's not going
qualifiers
to
are
be.
done. I think Hong
I'm
Kong
sorry.
and
I'm
Hong
sorry.
Kong
I'm
has made
sorry.
it.
I thought
Yeah, yeah.
I thought there was one more chance for a team. I really thought that for a second.
No,
My
no,
bad.
no.
My bad, guys. Sometimes I also make a lot of mistakes. So it's Hong Kong which has qualified, and Kuwait is not really making it through. Kuwait actually could have made it through if they would have got that win. They lost one game there because their net run rate was so good. For me, one of the best teams of the though Hong Kong has been a reputed team. They've done well in the previous Asia
See,
Cup.
now the
I remember.
interesting thing is, I think the teams have been divided into two groups of three. So India will be playing against Pakistan and Hong Kong. So Pakistan will be playing against India, Pakistan, Hong Kong in one. There is Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh in the other. Only two teams will make it to Super Four. So
I
I think
mean,
it is going to be
I
very
mean, I
interesting to see.
in one
Yeah,
way I feel it is just unfair because the two teams are going to make from the group A. Or
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
ideally
But I
a
think
tournament
Hong
like
Kong will be
Asia Cup.
very excited to play
I
India and Pakistan. And
Yeah,
as a kid, I remember I was very excited to. I think Hong Kong was one of the first teams to introduce this sort of cricket. There was a tournament called Hong Kong Sixes,
Sixers.
the
Yeah,
6 over tournament. Yeah, the 6 over tournament, where all the old, not old players. I mean the legends of the game, players who had just retired or
they used to
retired
play on
after
the
five.
mat, right? They used to play on the
Yeah,
synthetic
they used to play on
cricket.
the mat with all the small boundaries, and it was a 2 day affair. I think we used to have 2 days of Hong Kong cricket, 8 overs per over, 8 balls per over, 6 overs per game. And a player used to retire once he scores 30 runs, and there used to be lots of fun. And we used to see a lot of Hong Kong players. Local Hong Kong had a team over there. There used to be India legends, Pakistan legends, Sri Lanka legends. There was
No, it
Australia
was not
legends.
legends. It was actually Pakistan team and Indian team. You had Abdul Razak. You had some.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You had
India,
current
Pakistan,
players playing.
Australia. There was an all star
Imran
as well.
Nazir, I remember. Imran Nazir from Pakistan was one player who created a lot of havoc in the
Yeah, yeah,
tournament.
yeah.
So, it was such a good tournament to watch for the liking as well if you're an entertainer because it came
It's
during that
been
era
a
of
long
T20
time
cricket.
since. Yeah,
Yeah, Bangladesh would have been the favorites if they it was on ODI format. Yeah, I think so. Bangladesh could have done well in ODI format, but I think even T20 format as well. They had the best stance. If you look,
I think even with the current form, I don't think Bangladesh would have been would yeah, definitely they would have had a chance
do
to
you
win, but
think
they would
it's
not
kind
have
of
been the favorite.
unfair because all the three underdogs what we are talking about today are in one group, and only one can actually,
I think we
only
are
two
going
can
to
make it.
see we are going to have a cracking contest, and the best two teams are going to make it to the Super Four. That's how
Okay,
it should be.
I mean, as let's pull out the final thing, before we end the debate on who are the underdogs and who are the strong favorites to win it. One of them will definitely play India. India. One of them will definitely play Pakistan if everything goes well, or else if one of them really has an upset and Hong Kong pulls off two wins there, India and Pakistan
Very
goes out.
unlikely, but yeah, but I would love to see Hong Kong do well.
Yeah, let's
Even they
actually
won't
predict
fancy their
who
chances
are
of
the
a win, but
underdogs
they will.
finally.
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
are
yeah.
the underdogs to win the Asia Cup from these three? For me, it's in Sri Lanka and Afghanistan, and Sri
I
Lanka
think Sri
being the
Lanka are the front
strongest among
runners,
them.
and Afghanistan are very close second, and Bangladesh have a lot of catching up to do. I think Bangladesh have to be very impressive
For me, the most
to
interesting
make it
group
into
is
the
going
Super
to
Four.
be the Group B, which is Afghanistan, Bangladesh,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Sri Lanka.
Group A
Which
is
is
going to be the
it's just
only game
one
in
match
Group A
which
that
is
is going to be
interesting in
interesting
that
is
group.
India Pakistan.
It's just one match, and that's why I just
Yeah,
feel they've just spoiled it. It should have been an eight-team affair in the Asia Cup. It shouldn't have been even a six-team affair. You ideally are promoting more teams, six teams, and I don't even know why there's a Super Four after that. The ideal format should have been 4-4, and two teams from each group goes into
the
possibly a
semi-finals.
semi-final. From there on, they
Yeah.
play on. But here there's a Super Four for I don't know for what reason. Then you
I
have a
think this
final
is
after
the
that.
format that you just mentioned. I think that is going to be the format for the next one. I mean,
Yeah,
they were
hopefully.
still pretty early with the qualifications, and it
Yeah,
is
I
a
just
new
feel it
thing,
was
and
a
yeah,
team
they're
like
just
Kuwait should
pulling
have
it out.
really made it to the Asia Cup as well. I don't know why what they did wrong not to make it in the top two, and it should have been. I mean, one team already qualified, and you just wanted to play qualifiers for just particular one spot. That's just not fair. And I really thought
Yeah,
at least you should have given the host team their rights to play in their World Cup. Host team should have been there. UAE should have been part of it, being the host nation. They shouldn't have gone to the qualifiers, whereby it should have been 4-4. Maybe you would have had two teams, one of Bangladesh to be in India's group, Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, and you should have had two other teams, divide either between Hong
yeah, it
Kong
would have
or
been a
host
better
nation.
competition, like if we would have had it that way. But yeah, it's okay. I mean, we are still excited for the India Pakistan game and the entirety of Group B. Pakistan
Yeah,
versus Sri Lanka versus Afghanistan, Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh, Bangladesh versus Afghanistan are all going to be
I think
cracking
the best group
contests.
is definitely the Group B. I'm excited about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
group because one of the games which I'm excited about is Sri Lanka was Afghanistan,
And
and Sri
that
Lanka
is the
was
first game, I
Bangladesh as
think.
well. And Bangladesh was Afghanistan is also going to be pretty interesting. But
Yeah, I think the first game is Afghanistan versus Sri Lanka on 27th.
yeah,
So tune in.
that's the
Definitely, we are
opener.
going
That's
to
the
be
opener
covering
of
that.
the Asia Cup. We'll be here doing the post-match and pre-match as well on Twitter Space alongside Jones. So get ready for that. That's going to be some crazy action awaiting you. As we end our show tonight, it was great talking about it. Bangladesh, we've been able to cover Sri Lanka and Afghanistan. If you joined us late, do go back and watch our analysis on Sri Lanka and also on Afghanistan. We've put an in-depth analysis as to what will be the predicted starting 11. And this Asia Cup, you can play all the contests with Boom 11. The link is in the bio. Click on it. Download the app right now. Make your squads for this Asia Cup because absolute free of cost to play, and you can win so many rewards with Boom 11 this Asia Cup, and it's going to be very exciting time for you. Each match has got a reward, and so many of you guys will be the winners. India Pakistan is going to be one of the major matches to talk about as well. We'll be coming live on Sunday. Sunday is all going to be it's going to be certainly super Sunday to talk to talk least about India Pakistan. That's the major game of this Asia Cup. And of course, to start off with Sri Lanka versus Afghanistan, that's going to be the opener of the Asia Cup on 27. From there on, it's going to be a whole action packed till September 13th, if I'm not wrong. September 13th is the final day of the Asia Cup. Until then, it's going to be an exciting Asia Cup which is awaiting us. Who will be the Asian champions and on the quest of the Asian glory? Is it going to be an underdog? Is it going to be strong favorites in India, Pakistan? Watch our videos. We are going to be giving you so many more analysis, so many more data breakdown as well as to who are the players to watch out for, who are the five underrated players to watch out for from the Asia Cup. So catches on those lines as well. So many data, so many action. Boom 11 is going to be your platform. So download the app, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter because Twitter will be doing some interesting pre-match analysis with some of the cricketing experts from Twitter as well. Me and Sandeepan is definitely going to be there alongside us, other cricket expert experts are also going to join us. So make the Asia Cup an interesting one. This Boomer 11 and also footballing action are also on right now. Have a good night, all of you. I know it's been way too late in India. It's already 1:15 in India. In UAE, it's 11:45. It's bedtime for you all, lads. Have a great Asia Cup. One more day to go. Tomorrow is the Asia Cup officially starting because we're already into the next day. Very excited, very pumped. I'm buzzing already for the India Pakistan game and for the Asia Cup in entirety. Good night, all of you.